Yeah, one of the pitches of blockchain, Web3, that crypto side of stuff is that people have, for a variety of reasons, most of them like extremely valid, people have gotten a lot more into pseudonymity again. You know, they post on Twitter with a bored ape as their picture, you know, and they have a weird username and they develop a following under this pseudonym. Wouldn't it be great if they could like run a business that's not attached to their real name? It's fully online. It uses online payment rails, and they have their username, and they like identity. Their sort of digital identity is like discrete. It's its own personality online that has its own like set of payments or whatever. As soon as you say it, you're kind of like, well, I can think of a million reasons why that's not actually allowed. Yeah, you know, and we can start with like the narc version of like, how does taxation work? How do you interact with the economy in which you live? Yeah, it's very nice that you run like an online sneaker store and your picture is like a fucked up NFT lion. Yeah, whatever, and your name is Dat Gronk. That's great. Again, it comes back to what we mentioned last week with Flexport. There's a reason that know your customer regulation exists.
Well, how do you know we're not buying it straight off Kim Jong-il, you know?
Yeah, well, yeah, exactly. There's reasons this stuff kind of exists to like prevent fraud, you know.
Oh, well, yeah, I mean, unfortunately, we live in a society.
We do live in a society.
And like, yes, if you are starting a business, like you have to interact with the legal systems of that society. I know that people are going to hate me for this, like especially our listeners. And like, I get that there is, you know, if you're an activist in like a really censorious regime and blah, 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 you want to hide your identity so that the government doesn't take you out and all of that kind of stuff. Okay, sure. But I think for the most part, it's not a bad idea to tie our individual identity with the actions that we take, especially when they affect other people and we're interacting with both like individuals and business. I don't know if that sounds loopy and crazy, but like I don't mind the idea that like, yeah, when I post on Mac Rumors, if I have to do it under my actual name, so be it. You know?
That's a big call.
I mean, I'm not talking about like wholesale, like every single friggin' thing we interact with in the world needs to know our true identity or whatever. Everyone's against digital identity for privacy reasons until they have to log into Medicare. You know, like having an identity via the government, like a digital identity that you've registered with the government, tracked with the government, that you can use to kind of purchase things, interact with other people, businesses, insurance, taxation, the economy in general, communicate, doesn't sound like the worst thing in the world to me, personally. Like I wouldn't be mad at having to log into various services with my government ID. Does that make... I know there's probably some Meeting Tree listeners out there who know my background and use of Tor, but I'm not saying that Tor shouldn't exist. I'm just saying...
You're saying there should be a release valve when you want to buy illicit goods.
Like, as I said, like legalize the drugs that I like.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I mean, like I get where you're coming from in the sense that I think thorny problem that's kind of hard to resolve. Because I totally get people that are kind of like, I don't want to log into everything with my MyGov account or whatever. Like I get that. And there was a big kerfuffle in Australia a few years ago when, you have MyGov on one side, which, I don't think MyGov works particularly well. And also when you get the notification that says there's a messenger in your box.
Oh, that's so annoying.
In your inbox, you just know it. It's either going to be the worst shit you've ever seen in your life.
Or just
it's going to ruin the next 18 months. Or it's going to be completely benign.
Yeah.
Like...
this is your annual letter, like letting you know that everything's all good.
Yeah, exactly.
You got to pay. Here are 5 facts for small business.
Yeah, you got to pay tax this year, buddy. It's like, yep, on it, just like last year.
Yeah,
thumbs up. So I get why you wouldn't want to engage. The big controversy was that they started bringing that My Health record was the idea that you could go to any sort of medical practitioner and there would be a central repository of all the problems that you have with your body. No, it was like your health issue.
Yeah. I don't know. People are like, but then will they use that in insurance? And like, we can't trust them to not leak it and all of that kind of stuff. I personally was on the side of like, this actually sounds pretty smart to me.
Mm-hmm.
That's my opinion.
Yeah. So anyways, but people didn't like it, right?
No, people hated it.
They hated it. And I think that's just something you're never going to be able to shake. So it's like this weird pernicious problem where it's like people are always going to be skeptical of like a centralized solution to identity.
Yeah.
And it's lovely that you're chill with it. I think that's
I would rather
I think
it.
it's very-
At least for like government things, for the most part. And like, I honestly think in most instances, it'd be better if someone's identity was verified than if they weren't. I do get it. You don't want to look like a goose on a forum, like being like, is this rash bad or whatever. If you're listening to this, did you know there's another world out there where you get a second episode of Down Round a week?
Yep. It's called Down Round Premium.
That's right. And there's no interruptions.
No interruptions, no ads, 2 episodes a week, including the free one you're getting right now, plus another one.
Yeah. $7 a month, not a week, a month. Downround.net. Downround.net. Instant access to the whole back catalogue as well. You've got so much to catch up on.
There's so much. Get around it.